on, my friends? I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And over here in the corner is little Missy. She's our stray guest. Yes, she's starting getting a little weight on her. She still needs a long way to go to get some real weight on her, but I'm thinking we're gonna get her out to the air all soon, because she comes and goes in heat, and that's of course has its own challenges. Meanwhile, the main thing is that she's doing better, and very talkative over there. Anyhow, this is the Code of the Harpers, circa 1993. So in the very early 90s, there was this rise in the Faerun game setting for Dungeons and Dragons of an organization called the Harpers, and there's a whole slew of novels that were written based on the idea of the do-gooder, so to speak, the Robin Hood kind of character that's going around trying to right the many wrongs of the world and combat the evils of Faerun and so on and so forth. And so this book was written by Ed Greenwood, which is one of the premier, I believe he is the founder or the creator of the Forgotten Realms, the concept anyway, from the very beginning. I've heard rumors over the decades. I don't know what's solid truth and what isn't truth when it comes to that sort of thing, because we don't know. We're going back to pre-internet, right? And yeah, that's right. There was a time when we didn't have internet, because there's a lot of you young folks who apparently think that it existed forever. So no. Anyway, there was a rumor that the Forgotten Realms setting was one of the popular personal game settings for the early creators for D&D, and I don't know if that's true or not. It's just like Greyhawk. Greyhawk was the campaign setting that Gygax and his buddies concocted. That was my understanding. So, like in the Forgotten Realms settings, Elminster is infamous or famous as characters or non-player characters go for the setting. Where the setting was actually a character of one of the early developers back in the day. Now I don't know what truth there is to that or not. That's just rumors that I had heard. So this was the official game accessory for pretty much everything there was to do with the Harpers. And so I got a map that's actually managed to stay with the book over the years. I don't remember if I found it and shoved it back in here or I just left it in here. But this is Scardale and a couple other settings where the Harpers are based out of. The Tower Ashba back here. So we got the Code of the Harpers and our introduction. Who wears the silver harps and what Harpers do. So, in a nutshell, basically, these are, and I'll quote what it says right here, have been called the meddlers of the realms by many folk. In recent days, these words have become a favorite in blah, blah, blah. Idlest to the point of lunacy, noticeably blah, 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 blah. So, Harper spread rumors, aid merchants and common folk in many small ways, thwart the scheme, sometimes in the lives of creatures who work evil ends, and try to manipulate the affairs of civilized races, both great and small, to keep the kingdoms balanced and general peace across Faerun. And in the north, blah, blah, blah. So these are basically do-gooders or people who take it upon themselves to right wrongs and to live by the lawful good code, or the good codes anyway, and fits right at the bell for many adventuring groups. Many player characters would fit right into this category, and so this is basically giving you a new venue to explore the game setting, to have missions that do things other than to go after loot. Why would my character care about what Baron so-and-so over there is doing in his dungeon? That kind of stuff. Well, especially if there's no big huge payout for finding out. This might be one of those reasons. So we talk about how Harpers communicate, general Harper reactions, if a Harper's slain, typical Harper's year, 2 roads to the same gate, for example. We got going into detail to what one individual might have gone through for his year, a bunch of key codes and runes used by the Harpers to communicate. Harpers at twilight, at the dancing place, the long years, the tale of the chosen. We get into the history of the Harpers, its founding, the 1st century. So it was founded in part by a group of goodly gods who decided there needed to be something, and they all pledged to give a small amount of their clerical power to the individuals who harped. And then it was Caliban the Black and Elminster who actually did the legwork to create and start the initial Harpers organization. And then once it got going, they more or less kind of stepped into the background by keeping the occasional string pulled when they needed to, but let the organization grow and expand on its own. And that's at one point merged with the Heralds service of the realms, and the Herald service is this kind of I guess no one country or king can claim that they have control over it. So, but its whole primary purpose is to act as a collective history magnet or history dump for the realms in general in the West, and also to track and to certify the nobility. So which is what heralds do, and then of course act as a public announcement. Pony Express, the traditional public town crier might be a member of the Heralds Guild and things like this, and so they acted also in a crude way, a Faerun's version of the news service, right? So at some point the two were intermingled, and then they separated again to become two separate entities, and it talks about that later in this book. So we go on about the history and things like this, and Harpers today, and talk about the mark of the cat, or some possible scenarios that you go after. Let's see what you might be doing. The way of the harp, blessings of the gods again, running senior harpers, master harpers. They actually give you a breakdown list, like, here's Dove Falcon Hand, Silurian Dragon Breast, Elminster, of course. Let's see, like, damn, there's 3 pages just on Elminster. I mean, he's the Black Staff. There's another 2 pages on him. And a whole slew of other yahoos, some that are in the novels and some that I've never heard of before. But the book itself, it's a really interesting opportunity, because it started to expand. The game started to step away from not focusing specifically on things like races and character kits. So when the characters, what was your, you're going to be a fighter or a wizard or for one of the 400 different variations of subclasses that you can intermingle, interchange, then what? And so for some, being the mercenary life, the traditional hack and slash, hunt and grab, hunt and smash, or whatever you want to call it, was the only way to play the game. But for some people and more experienced players, as time goes on, you start to see that there's a deeper, wider world of opportunity for play. And so that's where we start seeing things where you start getting involved in, politics and conflict on a larger, on a national scale, intrigue and spying and espionage and so on and so forth. And so that there's just goes to show that, like the human condition, that's right, Mitzi, isn't that right? Yes. Oh, you're fine. So it's just that there's so many opportunities, and this was one of the, I don't want to say the original or first, but it was one of the early breakaways to actually expand and give you more options than your traditional basic concept that we know as D&D at that time. So partial roll. Then we get into the section chapter on the High Heralds. So There are many heralds in the realms, from fawning lackeys in Thay to the banner lords and the nomads of Shar. Here we're consulting with the oldest and most important heraldic officers in Faerun, the High Heralds, who were once part of the Harpers and are still allies of those who harp, founded in the year of the Watching Helm. The Heralds of Faerun, this opposite the Harper, blah, blah, blah. So, gets on to the talk about the Heralds themselves and how they differ and what they do today and how important their positions are and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we've got some specific positions called the Unicorn, Old Knight, the Black Visor, Crescent Coat, and the Red Dragon. So, Green Shield, Gauntlet, different positions, you know. Gauntlet. This herald is regularly replaced for practical reasons, primarily out of the wish to keep the office impartial and free of corruption. Gauntlets provide provinces, adventurers, mercenaries, and militias. It's responsible High Heralds for keeping track on the location, strength, and performance, and current allegiances and contracts or contacts of such groups as best they know. Yes. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah, I know. You come out here. Yes, you come out here a little bit. It's going to be a couple hours. I got some videos due today. Yeah, if I didn't have her in that box, she would be all over the place. And I can't take her out in the living room. We got the other cats, and that would just stress her out and then stress out the wife. And anyhow, so we got Harper Haunts. You know, here's Storm Silverhand's house, the House of the Harp, where the Harpers are welcome, various places, towns, and castles, and so on and so forth. Then we get into Harper Refuges, other places, and other possibilities. You know, like some of the things here. Undead cannot enter a Harper Refuge, with 2 exceptions. Any Harper priest of a deity who has empowered a refuge may know the alignment of the creatures within a refuge merely by concentration, etc. So, chance elements, wild magic effects on a refuge, and so we're still talking about refuges. Alright, double the other Harper spells. So I get a couple spells that if you get high enough level in the Harpers and you have certain talents or traits, you get to tap these little tiny extra skills and or spells and so on and so forth. And let's see, potions, Harper pens. The pens themselves, the master pens. The older the pen, and certain pens have a pedigree, so they are imbued with a lot of spells and or just enhanced by being, quote, touched by the gods, kind of stuff. So anyway, we've got some various magical items that are geared for the use of Harpers and for various reasons, etc., etc. Always some nice little tidbits. Then we get into the foes of the Harpers, which are considerable, which, you know, like I said, was the basis for many, many, many novels back in the day. So this was a great book, and it's still a valid book for any game, setting in any world. You could tweak the Harper's name and call them, I don't know, the nose stuffers or something, or the guardians of the realm, whatever, you know. And make it suitable. And if you're doing a Faerun, at most eras of Faerun, the Harpers still exist. Their current popularity, I think they waxed and then waned some years back. It's probably been 15-20 years since I guess they peaked, would be a good word, because I'm sure I have at least 15 or 20 Faerun novels that revolve around the Harpers and or have Harpers in them. So I mean, and I know that there were more. I think there was closer to 30, but don't be quoting me on that, because I don't think all my novels made it through the damn storage phase. I'm not convinced some are missing, but I know there's some missing. Absolutely know there are some missing. You know, but which ones? I don't know. Anyway, this is me. That's Missy. You're you. Till next time, you guys have a great week.